Hi, today's practice is around recovery, active recovery. So although yoga is a lot more than just a physical practice, it really can benefit and aid our other physical activity, whether that is weightlifting, whether that is running, swimming, whatever it is that you're into. So today's practice is heavily geared towards those who run a lot and may have built up a lot of tension, particularly in their lower back, and they just require a little bit of a stretch in the quads, the hips, the hamstrings, the glutes, the feet, a little bit of everything, and also then the chest and the shoulders, because running, like yoga, is an all-encompassing physical activity. So the next sequence is designed just to allow you to bring the body and the mind into a sense of calm, but also to get a really nice stretch, aiding your recovery and also allowing you to explore your range of motion, your mobility and your flexibility. These are all things that we can work on throughout our running or throughout our yoga practice, and just making us aware of where our bodies are, what our limitations are, and knowing what we have to work from. Okay, so take the practice at your own pace. If you need to pause anything and stay there for a longer period of time, if you want to double up on either side, feel free. I'm merely just a guide, and this is just to allow you to alleviate some of the tension, some of the stress that we might have built up in the bodies, and just help aid your other physical activity. I hope you enjoy. Starting off with our first posture, this is particularly good if you have just completed a long run, if it is the evening after you maybe ran that morning or the morning after a long run. It is basically just to help aid recovery and speed up the process by practicing with your legs up against a wall or inverted. You're essentially allowing the fluid to drain from the muscles, and it just adds to a more efficient recovery. It also helps to alleviate any tension that we might be holding in the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, and also the feet. So if you do have a wall that you can practice up against, you're essentially just taking your legs up the wall. Now, if that is not an option where you are, you can have a yoga block or a trusted book. And basically you just want to prop up the hips and allow the legs to come up towards the ceiling. So when you're ready, just lowering ourselves flush to the mat, taking the book or the yoga block to your sacrum, to your lower back, and just make sure this is comfortable here, tucking the chest towards the chin towards the chest, just to keep the spine nice and long. Palm of the hands are facing up towards the ceiling, knees draw in towards you, and then knees draw up, pointing the feet, and the hips are just ever so slightly elevated. Now, this requires a little bit of effort because we have to maintain our feet standing up, but if you are up against a wall, it's a little bit less of an effort, and you can allow yourself to come into the pose a little bit more, let go and sink a little bit deeper. So really the option is yours, it just depends on what you have access to, but we'll stay here for 10 breaths, in and out of the nose. When you're ready, we'll slowly transition. Just take the knees in towards the chest. We'll gently drop the soles of the feet towards the mat. Just taking your block or your book to one side. Just gently lower the feet to the mat. Coming into a spinal twist, this helps to alleviate any tension or any compression that you may be holding in the lower back, particularly when we run. There's a lot of impact and it goes directly to the spine and the lower back. So by practicing twists, we just help to alleviate some of that tension that we've built up. When you're ready, take the left foot in towards the chest. Take the right foot in towards the chest. Now we have an option of hooking the legs, or we can simply just drop both of the knees towards the opposite side, keeping the left shoulder plugged on the mat. Allowing the gaze to come over the right side. There is loads of options for this twist, and we'll stay here for a few breaths, so take your time to see what's comfortable. You can take the right foot over the left knee, using the left hand just to draw that right hand. Maybe you take the left foot over the right knee, as though you're almost pinning down that right knee. Make sure that right shoulder stays tucked onto the mat. That is an option. Or if you're coming into the full variation of the twist, hooking the right foot over the left leg and then behind the left shin. Taking both knees then to the left side, and again allowing the gaze to come to the right, only if it allows. Keeping the right shoulder plugged onto the mat. And we'll take 10 breaths on this side. When you're ready, just rolling the head back to center. We'll take the knees back to center, uncrossing the legs here, soles of the feet are on the mat. And again, coming through the opposite side, but knowing there's options. So we can take the knees and bring them over towards the right, twist from there. We can take the left knee over the right leg and we can twist from there. If we want to take the full variation, hooking the left leg behind the right shin, dropping the knees towards the right side, keeping that left shoulder plugged. Maybe the right hand guides the right knee towards the left knee towards the right side a little bit more. Making sure that we're breathing in and out of the nose, just giving the muscles that steady flow of oxygen with each breath. Exhale brings you back to center. We'll uncross the legs. Taking the knees in towards the chest. Take hold of the opposite elbows and just gently rock left to right, just massaging out the lower spine. And when we're ready, we'll roll over onto the right side. There is an option. You can have the left arm extended out long, or you can prop yourself up on your elbow and then use the palm of your hand to just rest your head on. If you want, if you're coming with me, extending out the left shoulder, stacking the right hip over the left, making sure they're in line. Bend the left knee, and you're drawing the left sole of the foot up towards the sit bone. Taking the right hand, take hold of the outside of the left foot. Might need a little bit of shimmying to get there. And again, head can be on the left side, on the left arm, or you can use the hand just to gently rest your head on. From here, this might be enough, and you can continue to take that heel in towards the sit bone. If you would like a little bit more of a stretch, allow the right shoulder to glide back behind the left, and we're taking another supine twist here. Extending out the right leg, bringing it over the left leg, pointing that right foot, roll back and take the right shoulder to the mat. We can extend out the left arm away from the body just to open out the chest a little bit more. We can keep it over the shoulder. We can have it propped up. It really just depends. But keeping that heel drawn in towards the sit bone, keeping the hips stacked, and we're just stretching out the quads, the hamstrings and the glutes. I forgot to mention, the pose is called cat pulling tail, and this is variation D. So if you would like to practice this again, that's the pose that you're looking for. It's a really nice all-encompassing full body stretch, particularly for the legs. Now when you're ready, we'll slowly unravel and we'll take it onto the opposite side, rolling over. Just take that right hand and guide yourself from here, extending out the right arm, taking the right ear to the right shoulder, stacking the left hip over the right. Now knowing you can use that right hand to prop you up if you need to. If not, just gently resting here. Taking the sole of the right foot towards the sit bone and taking hold of the foot with the left hand. Now from here, gently inhale, sweep the left leg over, keeping the shoulders stacked. If like me and you're off your mat, you may need to readjust. But keeping the hips stacked, we want to take the left shoulder back down to the mat and twisting from the spine. So option with that right hand to extend out long. Maybe it's in a cactus, maybe it's propped up behind you and you're not taking as much of a twist. These are all options. Just keep taking the sit bone towards, the heel towards the sit bone. We're breathing here. And when you are ready, we'll slowly unravel, rolling back over. Use the left hand just to guide you back towards the mat. We're coming into Sphinx pose. Elbows are directly underneath the shoulders here and the chest is facing up. Now you're gently pushing the pelvis in towards the mat and we're creating a little bit of a back bend. We're coming into locust pose from here, so we want to warm up the back before we come into our gentle back bend. Now push up through the forearms, and again just make sure that the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Really gentle back bend. Pointing the feet, just keeping everything engaged. From here, take the left foot up towards the mat, up towards the sit bone, and then take the right foot up towards the sit bone. Slowly bring yourself down to the mat. We'll take the hands either side of the chest, point the feet towards you, taking the right hand and taking hold of the outside of the right foot. We'll take the left arm and we'll sweep it around to take hold of the left foot. Keeping the knees and the hips and the feet in line, we're going to gently draw up and take 5 breaths. Now making sure that we're keeping everything in one straight line, draw the elbows back towards each other and the shoulder blades come to touch. On an inhale, gently push the feet into the hands, lifting up the knees. We're engaging the quads, the glutes, building up a little bit of back strength. Breathing here. See if you can lift up a little bit more. Gaze is forward. And we're slowly exhaling, coming all the way to the mat. Gently drop the feet. Take the hands either side of the chest. Just rolling the hips left to right. We're really working to take out any impact that may have caused a build-up of tension, particularly during a long run. And just letting go. Finally, those little lower back niggles that we might be holding in. Now from here, coming into locust, we'll roll the shoulders back and the elbows drawing in towards each other. Taking the hands behind the back, just to open out the chest, interlace the 10 fingers here, creating clasp fists with your hand, rolling back, elbows drawing in towards each other. Take the fists away from the body. Now draw the thighs, the knees and the feet in towards each other, pointing the feet. On an inhale, we'll gently bring ourselves up, coming into locust, and we're holding for 5 breaths. Slow and steady in and out of the nose. Just really keep those legs drawn in towards each other. See if you can lift up just a little bit more. And as you exhale, slowly come to the mat. We'll take the hands either side of the chest, tuck the toes, take the sit bones back towards the heels, coming into our child's pose. Just taking a few breaths. And when you're ready, rippling through, taking the knees once again underneath the hips. We're finding ourselves in a tabletop position. We won't be here for long. Push each of the 10 fingers into the mat. We'll tuck the toes and we'll take the sit bones up towards the ceiling for downward facing dog. Generous bend in the knees here. In our downward facing dog, we often forget how active a pose it is because we use it through transitions of standing sequences. But on its own, downward facing dog is amazing for our blood circulation, for stretching out the back of the hamstrings, for quad and glute strength. It really is an all-rounder. So practicing downward facing dog alone and just staying here for longer periods of time means we get all the benefits of the pose, which we often forget about when we're throwing it between our practice. You want to aim to have the chest towards the thighs and eventually having the gaze up at the navel. Heels come towards the mat. Elbows continue to face each other and just keeping the hands fanned out and they're facing the front edge of the mat. See if you can drop the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe subconsciously holding a little bit of tension there. When you're ready, we'll slowly inhale and take the right foot up towards the ceiling, coming into a low lunge. Pointing the foot, take the chest once again to the thighs, bending the right knee, we'll bring it in towards the chest and we'll gently land it between the hands. We're in our high lunge, drop the knee, untuck the toe, coming into a low lunge. Hands can come onto the shins to begin with. And because we'll be here for 5 breaths, really make sure that you're comfortable. You want the right ankle directly underneath the right knee and a generous bend in that right knee. On an inhale, sweep the arms in line with the ears. Exhale, sink into the right leg. 5 breaths. My 5 breaths might be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter than yours. Not to worry. Take one last inhale. This time when we exhale, take the right hand behind us and the left arm comes to the outside of the right thigh. We're just using the left hand for a little bit of gentle feedback, allowing us to twist from the spine. So we're not forcing anything, but we're gently using it just to guide our right hand in the direction of the back of the mat. You might feel a really nice stretch now on the front of the left thigh. Continuing to twist from the spine, just helping to alleviate any tension in the lower back once more. And again, opening out the chest and working on the quads and the leg strength. There's a lot going on. We're staying here for 5 breaths also. See if you can bend into that right knee just a little bit more, opening out the chest. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, we'll just take it back to center, framing the right foot. Lift the left leg and tuck the toe. We'll take the right foot back to meet the left. Exhaling, coming back into our downward facing dog, just so we can get that stretch up the back of the hamstrings again. Now this time around, see if you can take your heels closer towards your mat and the gaze between the thighs, aiming to gaze up towards the navel when we're warm enough. Settling into the pose, feeling that really nice stretch. When we're ready to move to the opposite side, inhale, sweep up the left foot, pointing it away to the back of the mat, bending the knee, rolling as we take the left knee towards the chest, and we'll gently land that left foot in between the hands. Dropping the back leg, untucking the toe. Inhale, sweep the arms in line with the ears. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. So again, if you need to readjust and make your stance a little bit shorter or a little bit longer, feel free to do so. The hips may start to move here. So you want to imagine that you're rolling back the left hip, taking the right hip forward, sinking deeper into the left leg. And you should feel a really nice stretch there on the front of the right thigh. Arms in line with the ears, opening out the shoulders and the chest. 5 breaths. Now as we exhale, we'll take the left hand behind and we'll take the right hand this time and we'll bring it to the outside of the left thigh. Little bit of gentle feedback as we take that left hand in line with the body, maybe sinking a little bit deeper into that right leg, stretching out the front of the right thigh, a little bit deeper into the left knee. Left and my rights will always and forevermore fail me. So if you've done it on one side, just making sure you've done it on the other, and never trusting my left and right. Breathing here. See if you can open out one last time. As we exhale, come back to center, framing the left foot. We'll lift up the right foot, we'll lift up the right knee. Take the left foot back, exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Heels towards the mat, chest towards the thighs. Breathing in and out of the nose. Coming into our lizard pose, continuing to work on the hips just to help loosen them up after a long run. Take the right foot, pointing it towards the ceiling, bend the knee, taking it in towards the chest and then outside of the right hand, gently landing on the outside of the right side of the mat. Now drop the left leg, untuck the toe. Start to take semicircles with that right knee. The hands are on the inside of the right foot and you're just looking to loosen out the hip. The more movement and the more fluid you are with these stretches, the more you allow yourself to explore your range of motion. So be really dramatic with your movement and just see what feels good, what your limits are, how far your body wants to go, and once it says no, way too much. Pull back. From here, you may decide to take the left arm onto the mat and have one forearm on the mat. You may decide to take both. You may come onto the outer edge of the right foot and see how that feels. Maybe if you want to take the full variation, you can tuck the left toe and lift the left knee, making sure you're keeping that left knee engaged, keeping it strong and steady. We'll hold here for a few minutes, so maybe play around with lifting the knee in and off the mat, coming onto one forearm, onto another. Again, you really know what you need here, depending on your length of run as well. Sometimes this feels too intense, or sometimes you want to stay here for a few minutes. Now when you're ready, we'll come straight away into our pigeon, taking the right knee to the back of the right wrist, bending the knee. You want the shin about 45-degree angle. Often people say to align it with the front edge of the mat, but really that's quite an advanced pose, and we're not all made like that. So again, you know how much or how little that you need, but you want to aim it to have it about 45 degrees. The sole of the foot will always be facing in towards you. Gazing back over the left shoulder, just making sure that that leg is long and straight. The hands are either side of the knees here. You may find it particularly useful to come onto the fists of the hand and draw up so there's length in the spine here. If the hips start to move left to right and you feel a little bit unstable, knowing you can take your yoga book, taking it underneath the right thigh, and just allow that to gently settle and align your hips with the front edge of the mat. This is particularly useful for when we are sitting down, to make sure that we're sitting straight and we have our hips aligned. We're training ourselves and our posture. Now from here, if you would like to open out the chest before we come down, you can take the hands behind the body. Now interlacing the fingers, just clasp the fist once more and take the fist away from the body here. Should really start to feel it now on the outside of the right thigh. Just make sure that you're maintaining your breath. We can decide to come into sleeping pigeon. This is quite an intense stretch, but it's also very effective. So if you do go for particularly long runs, I would recommend coming down and staying in this pose anywhere up to 3 minutes. We'll stay for 10 breaths, and you can come out of it earlier than you want, or you can keep it for a little bit longer. Take the forearms onto the mat and gently guide them away from the body. Eventually the forehead and the forearms and the palm of the hands come to touch. We're staying here for 10 breaths, in and out of the nose. I'll count this time because it is a little bit intense, to make sure I'm being fair. We'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, slowly bring ourselves back to center. Take the hands onto the outside of the knee, tuck the toe. We'll take the left knee in towards the body a little bit more, and coming into another spinal twist and another hip opener. Take the left foot towards the sit bone, rooting up through the left hand here. Extend out the right arm and twist the palm to face away from you so the thumb is facing towards the mat. Now sweep that right arm around and take hold of the outside of the right foot. This is an option, and you can continue to be here with the left hand under the left shoulder, the hips align with the front edge of the mat, and bending the elbows so that the sit bone draws in towards the heel. If you would like a little bit more, take the inside of the foot onto the outside of the foot, onto the inside of the palm of the right hand. Bending into the elbow, draw closer towards you. Maybe twist and exhale, gaze over that right shoulder. We're staying here for 5 breaths. Exhale, take the left hand back down to the mat. Take the hands to frame the right knee. We'll tuck the left toe, we'll lift the left knee, and we'll slowly exhale, extending up that right leg towards the ceiling, just allowing the blood to flow back in. Now move really mindfully here. We held that pose for quite a long time, so the blood just has to come back to normality, so give yourself a little bit of space. I'm not rushing into anything too quick. We'll get ready to take it on the opposite side. So from our downward facing dog, inhaling, sweeping up the left leg and pointing the foot. We'll bend the knee, taking it in towards the chest and round the top of the spine. Pausing here, and then we'll take the left hand to the outside of the left mat, and the 2 hands are on the inside of the left foot. Now drop the knee and untuck the toe. Starting to open out that hip, we'll circle with the left. Left knee circles over the left ankle. Maybe coming the opposite direction. This really is a you know what you need type pose, so if anything feels particularly painful, just pull back. We want to aid our recovery and not inhibit it. So just never allowing yourself to feel pain. Maybe taking it onto one forearm, maybe the other. See how it feels maybe to tuck the right toe and come down onto the forearms from there. Draw the right heel back towards the mat. Maybe even to see how it feels to take a little bit of movement. As always, it's your practice, so just doing what you need. What feels good and leaving what doesn't. We'll drop the right leg and we'll untuck the toe. Now bending the knee, take the knee to the back of the left wrist. Extend out that right leg. If you need to align the hips, know you can take the block or the book underneath the left hip. The sole of the foot is drawn in towards you. Gazing back, just seeing a long straight leg. And the hands are either side of the knee. Now maybe you are on the fists, maybe clasp the hands behind you and draw them away from the body, lengthen the spine here, gazing forward. And as we exhale, coming into sleeping pigeon, forearms, palm of the hands, forehead, come to the mat. Just allowing ourselves to be here for 10 breaths. Holding for 10. Holding for 9. For 8. 7. For 6. 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Slow and controlled, hands back to the mat, gently guiding ourselves back up. We'll take the book out from underneath us, pivoting the right knee closer towards the body, just bending the knee up towards the sit bone. Extend out that left arm, facing the palm away from you. We'll sweep the left arm around and we'll take hold of the outside of the right foot. Again, the hips are in line, the front edge of the mat. Bend into the elbow, taking it into the knee. Maybe take the outside of the foot onto the inside of the wrist. Twist and exhale to gaze over the left shoulder if the neck allows, if it feels comfortable. The closer you take the heel in towards the sit bone, the more you'll feel it. You'll feel the release on the front of the right leg. From here, just gently allowing the left foot to come back onto the mat. We'll take the right shin in towards the chest before we extend into our three-legged dog. Just allow the blood to flow back into that side of the body. We'll tuck the left toe, we'll lift the left knee, pushing up through the palm of the hand. Shin comes towards the chest. Exhale, extend out that right leg and slowly bring it back down to the mat. Just pedaling out one last time through left and through right. Chest comes towards the thighs. Rippling through into our high plank. Drop the knees, untuck the toes, and take the legs out from underneath you, extending them out long. And we're coming in to our reclined pigeon. Chin to chest, tuck the tailbone, soles the feet on the mat. Take the right foot over the left. Take the hands, interlace them behind the left thigh or maybe on the front of the left shin. Either way, you're drawing the feet back towards the shins just to protect the knees. Guiding the right knee away, taking the left knee in. And taking the hands into a cactus or a T. One last twist. Right foot over towards the left. You know what options are there. Gaze over the right hand. Maybe take the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Maybe take the sole of the left foot onto the outside of the left knee. If any of these poses you need to hold for longer or you want to move on, just knowing what you need. Come back to center, come back to center, swap the legs, left over right, twist over towards the left, keep the left shoulder down, maybe the right hand is over the left knee and the left foot over the right knee. Exhale, coming back to center, take the legs back to center, and from here, having the option to come into either shoulder stand or having the option to come back into legs up against the wall as we did at the start of the practice. So if you would like to use your block or your book to stack up the legs, if you would like to prop yourself beside a wall and have your legs up there, staying for at least 10 breaths. If you would like to practice shoulder stand, just take the lower back and cradle them into the palm of the hands and face the feet up towards the ceiling. Pointing the feet, pushing the pelvis up, just trying to keep a straight line. Just allowing the blood to flow, draining out any of that fluid. Maybe you stay here, or if you have plow pose in your practice, just slowly taking the legs all the way over the head. Now keep the point in the feet, knowing the mat is always closer than it seems to be. Slowly, slowly, toes come behind the body. Now keep the neck safe here, keep it coming in towards the chest. Interlace the 10 fingers, clasp the fist, just pointing the feet. you're ready to transition, slowly take the knees to the chest, slowly unravel down to the mat, extend the legs out long or take them the width of the mat, knees drawing towards each other, hands up towards the ceiling. Rolling over to your right side, and the left hand brings you back to center. So a very restorative practice, and particularly aimed at those of us who may run recreationally or competitively. Heavy emphasis on the legs, because that's what usually takes the brunt of all of our running. So hopefully you feel a little bit more loose and a little bit more stretched out and calm afterwards. And knowing that if at any point you want to go back to a certain pose and just hold it for a little while longer, absolutely do. It's really key to be intuitive with our bodies, particularly when running, and you know exactly what you need and when you need it. But I hope you enjoyed. Option as always is to close our practice with namaste.